Hey guys, Basilius here. Welcome back to another episode of Europa Universalis 4. And today we're going to be doing uh 1.36 King of Kings Bengal Sultanate Guide. Now, the Bengal Sultanate is in a pretty unique position. It's like a medium power in the Indian subcontinent. If played correctly, it can easily become the strongest, but it's still a level below the powers like Vijayanagar, Bamanis, and Jaunpur Sultanate. But through some quick early expansion, you can quickly become one of the greatest powers on the subcontinent and unify the subcontinent under Bengali rule. And another great thing about the nation of Bengal is its expansion opportunities. I mean, you can go into the relatively ununified areas of uh, Orissa and Andhra, uh, and these like tribes here. It's pretty underdeveloped. You can go into the areas of Burma and northeast India. You can also go into Nepal, kind of go up here as well. But by far, the main thing that benefits Bengal the most is its extraordinary trade presence, the Bengal Trade Node. It controls nearly all the major trade centers of Bengal, and it even has a level 3 world port, which is an incredible asset to have at your disposition when you play Bengal. So it starts off with 38% of the trade node, which will rise very shortly. So our opening moves, let's look at our rivals real quick. So first of all, we want to rival Orissa and Jaunpur. We don't want to rival Ayutthaya. Make sure not to rival Ayutthaya because it can be annoying if they ally Arakan. Then you're going to want to build a spy network on Kush to your north and Arakan to your south. And now for your estates. We're going to be taking Brahmin, the legitimate rule, Brahmin Council, Brahmin Education, and that's it. From the Ulema, we're going to be taking Religious State, Clerical Advisory Council, freedom of interpretation, and oversight by the Ulema. Expansion of symmetry. And finally, we will take religious diplomats. From the Amirs, we will take primacy of the Amirs, increased levy, aristocratic counselor, right of counsel, and Amir's officer rights. From the Jains, we will not take Jain political control, but we will take indebted to the Jains, private trade fleets, and grant Jain's liberties. Finally, from the Rajputs, we will take established Rajput regiments and increase Rajput autonomy. Next, we will summon the Diet. I'll choose the estate that increased production in Bhagalpur, but choose the one that best suits you. Next, I will seize land. So at this point, we need to look at our missions. So our missions are very centered around conquering the regions I mentioned, and Arakan piracy, which obviously is on Arakan. Conquer Kosh, which is Conquer Kosh. Now you can see why I asked you to make claims on these areas. And there's also a lot of other missions like Conquer Kotak, Establishment Towns, which is you need 1,000 ducats and 10 workshops, which gives you some really nice bonuses, and Patronize Shufi Scholars, which is your religious grants. And if you go down all these missions, you get some really powerful bonuses. And Actually, your mid-game goal is to form the Sultanate of Delhi, and then you can form Hindustan. But personally, I'd keep the Bengali ideas, which are very powerful. You get 15% manpower, 10% infantry combat, 10% trade efficiency, which is really good, 0.5 yearly army tradition, 10% development cost, minus 10% idea cost, land leader shock, tax modifier, goods produced, and artillery damage from back row, which is also very powerful. So the Bengal Sultanate has one of the best ideas in all of the subcontinent, if I do say so myself. Anyways, we'll start off by building 5 light ships. And we were going over force limit and hiring the independent army. We were deleting it right after the war, but we need the force limit. Unfortunately, we need those troops because we're facing an enemy that's very strong, which is Odisha. Now, this might seem a little excessive, but I found in my testing that it's the only 100% way to defeat Odisha every time, because sometimes your armies might not battle so well, so you need overwhelming numbers to win this war for regions. And so, after we recruit our general, Barbak Ganesh, he will lead us to victory. 2 siege, which is very nice. Move all your troops to Satgaon, which is on the border with Odisha. Get an admiral and hire level 1 advisors everywhere. Take the land force limit modifier, morale of navies, and production efficiency. Let me just check. I haven't played India in a little bit. They don't have the advisor cost, unfortunately. So now that we can unpause, just make sure to take lenient taxation. I almost forgot. There is a reason you're taking lenient taxation right now. And it's not for the diplomatic reputation. And click all of these. So I'm not going to be converting anything right now because I need the money. So as you can see, Odisha's called you arrival. Now, on the 11th of December, you're going to be attacking them. And I got the 12th, that's a little annoying. And unfortunately, they have allied Tirhut, but it's fine. They won't be able to do anything. And we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone when we kill Tirhut as well. Tirhut, I don't know. Anyways, as you can see, we have a core on Midnapur, so we can immediately attack. And in this case, I'm going to be co-belligerent Tirhut because I intend on taking their lands. It's a very important province, Tirhut, because it's a trade center. Now, Orissa looks weak. I mean, it's 5 provinces. But in reality, they have a vassal swarm. 4 provinces. And each of them field 2,000 to 3,000 troops. But, if you can see, the Orsian troops have an incredible general. 3521, Kalpilendra, and this is historically a legendary king, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, now that we've won the battle, the war is pretty much over. Okay, this is one. Now you want to take Midnapur quickly. And as you can see, we're just going to continue to attack them. And I kind of misplayed here. Make sure to get your navy out. You'll have complete naval superiority because You actually have three heavy ships, which is very nice. And once you take the fort in Balasore, the war is pretty much over. I'm actually going to. I don't have enough. Gonna barrage though. I might be a little behind in military technology, but that's fine. Nobody's gonna really be attacking me at this stage of the game. Okay, now that we won Balasore, to attack in my revanche. And that's a win for us. We have taken quite a few losses, but it's fine. Now, Odisha doesn't actually have any more provinces that are forts, so you can just stack like them here. You just kind of have to predict where they're gonna go though. So here they're gonna go to Maravash. And yeah, it's just this game of continuing to attack them. No, I forgot this. And yeah, this is the reason why we need an overwhelming number. It's just because it's just so annoying to fight the Orions without nearly overwhelming force. Just bring my heavy ships to fly. And yeah, the war's basically won here. And there we go. The Orisan war is almost done. We just have to finish sieging down the city of Tirhu, and then we'll be able to peace out both nations. Now, the fun part about Orissa is that since they're so small, but they're actually a lot stronger than they seem, since they're so small, you can fully annex them in one war. So you basically get double the provinces for only one of the AE because of their four vassals. Now, unfortunately, you will have four diplomatic relations not taken up, but that's fine. Anyways, as you can see here, I'm just fully annexing both Orissa and the nation, Tirhut, and taking all their money. Now, this does cause a small coalition, but it's nothing to be worried about, as most of the nations are quite far from you and they're very weak, so together they will either be picked off or they won't ever pose a threat to you. That's the nice part about playing in India. You can split your aggressive expansion between three religious groups, which is actually incredibly useful. You can split your aggressive expansion from the Sunnis, the Shias, and the Hindu group. At Bengal, you can actually split it through four because you can also conquer up to the north where they're Buddhists and to the east where they're Buddhists. And the Buddhist group won't get any aggressive expansion from your Hindu conquests or even your Sunni Muslim conquests. So using that strategy, you can divide and conquer all the nations on the subcontinent and assert your dominance throughout all of it. Now we're going to be preparing to declare war on the Princedom of Kosh and Assam, and as you can see, I'm co-billeting Assam because I intend to take all of the land there and jump cut because it's a really easy war. We've taken all of Assam. That is a little sizable coalition. It will be fine. Nobody will declare war on us. Just keep improving relations with everyone. And There we go, we've taken all of Assam and we look a lot stronger and a lot nicer borders. Now, we don't have claims on Sadia, so we will have to conquer that stuff later because that is a little bit too much aggressive expansion. But because of that, we can kind of sit back and develop for a little bit. Now, we're going to be allying the nations of Malwa, and we're also going to be allying the nation of Italy. So these two are very important alliances simply because we really, really need them for our next war. And I will say we don't really, really need them, but we kind of do really, really need them. It all depends on your luck, but always 100% of the time, I've noticed you can get Malwa and Dili. So I always ally them. It's pretty easy, it doesn't cost you anything, and you can break the alliance after the war. So you might be wondering, what's our next war? What's this war I've been hyping up for pretty much the last minute or two? And well, that's against Jaunpur. And the great thing about the war against Jaunpur is that nobody will care. At least, not any of the Hindu nations, only the Muslims will. Except there aren't really that many Muslim nations in India. It might seem like it when you look at the religious map mode, but in reality, all of them are big nations, and I'd rather have three big nations in a coalition than 20 small ones, just because of how force limit works in this game. Anyways, as you can see, we're just preparing for the war, and in our next cut, we'll be declaring. We're going to be declaring war on the Sultanate of Jaunpur to our west. Delhi and Malwa, our allies, will be called in, and they will mostly help with Jaunpur's allies, and they're almost always Gujarat and Multan. Sometimes, and this is very rare, they can ally someone more annoying, and in that case, the war will actually be more difficult. But every time I've tried this strategy, Jaunpur doesn't have good allies, and you could easily defeat them with the help of Delhi and Malwa. Now, the thing about Jaunpur, they have very rich lands, but they also are easily sieged down if you can take a few key points. For example, the fort in Rotsagar basically opens up the entirety of Jaunpur to your armies. And if they can take that fort in Jaunpur, you can basically just win. So, Jaunpur, as you can see, their armies are not engaging ours. And the reason for that is that they actually have a lower technology level militarily. And at the start of the game, the technology levels matter hugely. Actually, Tech 3 to Tech 4 is a zero point 0.5 morale difference. And so when armies have such little morale, that zero point 0.5 is a huge difference, and Jaunpur will lose almost every battle if they fight on equal terms. So as you can see down there, they're trying to pick off the easy armies, but it's not happening for them. At least this they won't win the war. As I'm just going to be converting some more of my provinces to Sunni Muslim gradually. And I can peace out Multan because all of their provinces, not except their capital, have been sieged by Delhi. And sometimes you don't always have to siege another capital to peace a nation out, and that's a valuable lesson to learn because if you don't siege their capital, that's months that you can not waste and instead focus on the main war. And you can just peace out for slightly less money or just a white peace, and that's just a hugely beneficial thing. Anyways, we're about to win the siege here. So after we win the siege, I'm just gonna cut to when we win the war because it's pretty easy afterwards. Alright, so as you can see here, the war is almost won. Gujarat is the only nation that's really left. I'm just taking an agenda here to make sure my estates are loyal. And this is really easy to complete. I'll just dev this province up twice, or and build a mosque for money. And here's a little exploit. If you slacken recruiting standards before you click the manpower button, you get way more. So as you can see, from 8,000, you got 18,000 manpower. So that's a really neat trick you can do to actually improve your manpower game massive. And now that Gujarat is out, we can really get out of the war. And peace out, Jaunpur. So when you're piecing out Jaunpur, you're going to be taking most of like the areas up until Jaunpur. That's around 100 war score, give or take like 10. And with that rest of the money, you're going to be taking all of that sweet cash. And I'm just going to concentrate down and core it all up because this is very good land, and you want to develop it into your empire. Make sure. So at this point, Delhi is being absolutely destroyed by the Mughal Empire. It's probably because they guaranteed one of the smaller states that was then promptly invaded. Or it's not really the Mughal Empire; it's the Timurids. It's this actually the second Timurid raid of Delhi, which is I find kind of poetic. So at this point in the save, you're going to be the strongest power in India, but you're also going to be in a slightly precarious position. You just need to be able to develop a little bit, and then you'll be able to resume your conquests. So once again, if this video gets 5 likes, I'm going to make a part 2 guide where we expand and become a really good power, like develop Renaissance, all that stuff. And yeah, and I'm just going to be building some billions, and we're in an excellent position for the future. So that's pretty much all in this video, and I thank you for watching. Goodbye.